Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast, as we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, even when your nose stuff like mine is. Yes, call them. Very key. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Let's go out to Tennessee. Let's talk to this fine gentleman talking some SEC sports. He's my good friend Trey Wallace with Outkick.com. Trey, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just, going through lawsuits, upcoming White House summits, litigation, loving college basketball right now, and me some college baseball. And then, by the way, spring football started. So, I mean, we're rolling again, brother.
Okay, I'm going to ask this question. White House summit. Are you going to the White House? What are you talking about? I just want to make sure I clarify this. What are you talking about?
Iran. They want my opinion of what's going on.
Opinion.
Yeah, they want my opinion. A college sports reporter. Since I'm now a White House correspondent, a legal correspondent, why not add to the resume? No, it's the college sports roundtable that will be including the NBA commissioner, the president of the Yankees, the U.S. Olympic Committee, Greg Sankey, bunch of college presidents and chancellors, and some TV executives, along with like Charlie Ward and supposedly Tim Tebow and whatever. Marco Rubio and Ron DeSantis are the co-chairs, so this is going to be fun Friday.
All right.
Not like anything else is going on in the world.
Yeah, I know. Like if you show up and Nick Saban's like, Mr. President, what about Iran? Who knows what? And that might happen. Who knows? You don't know. But here's my thing. Take a step back, breathe. Don't you feel like, yes, we do need to figure out some of this stuff in college athletics because this is getting out of hand now?
Absolutely. Like the past 3 off seasons, brother, have been around house settlement, eligibility, litigation, NIL payments. Like that's all it's been. Like we haven't had an off season where we can just talk about spring football, college basketball, college baseball, softball, whatever. Women, we haven't had that in 4 or 5 years. I mean, 5.5 years ago, we were talking about Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher getting into an argument about NIL and sliced bread and whatnot. Now it's, what courtroom am I in today talking about a lawsuit? Like, yes, I mean, we got to figure out something. I think we've gotten to a point now, brother, where anything goes. There's no guardrails. There's nobody, laying out rules for this. And by the way, there's really nobody to enforce this stuff that's going on. So, look, my thing is, if you can get collective minds together that have some ideas to share. By the way, nothing's getting done Friday, so don't expect anything to get done. This is going to go on for months and months. And but I do think it's smart to start the conversation. And if that means getting some folks from Major League Baseball and the NBA and the NFL in the room to talk about collective bargaining and whatnot with players, sure, have at it. The more the merrier. But I still think we're a ways away from getting anything done. And at the same time, we're getting to a point now where this is just getting a little bit too much, Mark. And so we better figure it out, or they better figure it out quick, because I'm also tired of these schools crying poor. And then at the same time, Kentucky comes out, gives their former AD $950,000 a year to be a consultant this week. Like, it's just getting a little bit out of control.
You know what's weird to me? I've done this a long time, just like you.
Yeah.
I don't talk recruiting anymore. Does that count for basketball?
No.
It's the weird. This time of year, hey, tell me about the recruiting class at Florida State. How's Miami looking? What about the Gators? None of that. It doesn't matter anymore. It's the weirdest thing to me.
It is surprising that we're at a point now. High school recruiting's, it's still the lifeblood. We all love high school recruiting. Okay. It's gotten a little bit out of control now, but it's always been out of control. It's just been done behind the scenes. Now it's all out front. I think, what we've got now is the transfer portal, and that's how these teams are building their rosters. And what you're about to see with spring football is the shadow portal, where these players just up and leave a school, unenroll, go enroll at another school, and then start playing. Like, that's coming. You're going to see lawsuits pertaining to this. Like, I'm just warning folks out there. Like, you might have a player or two that just unenrolls, and we can take that back to Xavier Lucas going from Wisconsin to Miami. So I do think, even though the NCAA tried to come out and be like, oh, we're going to punish you with all these big fines. Okay, good luck holding that up in a courtroom. So it's wild to me that we've gone from what it was 6 years ago to where we are now. But the problem is that the coaches are all in on it. I mean, the athletic departments are in on it, because if they don't, Mark, they're going to be left behind and they ain't going to have a roster. So, I mean, and then the other thing too is, like, these 5-star quarterbacks, 4-star quarterbacks, linebackers, running backs, whatnot, like, you're paying them a boatload of money to be on your roster, but you can't have them sit for 2 to 3 years anymore. Like, if you're going to pay a kid $800,000, his rear end better be on the field or contributing in some way. So it's wild to think where we are now, but it is not surprising because of the groundwork that's been laid over the last 4 years.
Okay, here's a fun question for Trey Wallace. Will the Miami Hurricanes ever start a quarterback again who they actually recruited and developed? I say no.
Never. I say no. I say it would have to be, I don't see Miami going out and doing like a Bryce Underwood type of thing from Michigan. I just don't. I think they've had so much success through the portal and finding their quarterbacks that, why stop? I guess the best way to put it. Like, you just also, we're in a win now mentality. Again, these coaches don't have 3, 4, 5 years to build programs anymore. You better be going out there and you better be putting together a roster immediately. So I don't know, man, maybe 6, 7 years from now. But as we stand here at the moment, no, just keep funneling in the portal players.
I like, there's a player on UCF basketball named Kugel who's a super senior. That's what I call him.
Yes.
On the broadcast the other night, they said he's played in over 180 college basketball games. Dude, how old are you? 35? What is happening here after a while?
I'm telling you, man, we're at that point where kids aren't sticking around at one school. It is, that's the system, by the way. Like, it is what it is. They laid out, but you're not getting the 5th-year senior that, started as a freshman, played his way through the roster and the practices and built his way up, and now he's an all-star for the team. No, those days are gone. Like, what? I think Mississippi State was like the one school that had like one senior that actually had been through the program for all 4.5, 5 years. Like, this, it's crazy where we're at, man. But it's also not surprising. And I mean, and also, like, gone are the days like you go to a program because you love the program and you grew up on the program. No, it's about the check and it's about playing time.
I want your thoughts on this, because my biggest complaint right now, and there's nothing wrong with this, is if you're a mid-major or even a middle-of-the-pack Power 4 team, if your players play well, they're going to leave. It does. So if you're on Mississippi State, you play well, Auburn will call you up, say, here's $4 million. I don't blame the players for leaving. That, if I'm at the White House and we're on that panel, I am bringing up that point right there, and I would go, you guys are smart. How do you fix that exactly?
Yeah, because the money being offered, I mean, it's life-changing for the age that they're at. I mean, unless you have a really, really good investor, that's not going to mean anything when you're 40 years old, more or less 30 years old. So I don't blame the players, man. Like, I look at my former school, South Alabama. Like, we're a feeder system now for these other teams. We are AA baseball. So it is what it is. It does stink. I remember the days where, fans could get into a program because they've invested in the player. You know what I mean? So, like, you knew who it was. You know what I mean? Like, you can support them. You could be. Now it's just, okay, let me figure out what my roster looks like, who I'm cheering for this year, because I have no idea who this player is. But again, I don't blame the players for taking the money. If it's there, go take it.
Let me tell you this. Years going to SEC media days before NIL and the transfer portal,
Yeah.
When you're there in the room with these bigwigs and they're in $5,000 suits and they're all making millions of dollars, I'm like, you have to pay the players. Enough of this after all. Stop acting like, and they did this for 100 years. Hey, we're just a normal school. We're going to play Michigan. If you want to see us play Saturday, we're going to do it for the rah-rah spirit. No, they're making billions. So I'm for the players.
And it's like Lane Kiffin wanted to, God bless Lane Kiffin. He wanted to spout off with a tweet or something on Wednesday morning about how pretty much saying that there's no longer these like seniors that stick around the program and whatnot. It's like, what are we doing NCAA? And I'm like,
what?
My man, you left Ole Miss for another job. You're with Alabama and then got kind of kicked to the curb and went to Florida Atlantic and not even coached a championship game. Like, stop. Like, the coaches are moving around. Like, if we want to sit here and complain about the players, we could sit here and do the same darn thing about the coaches. So I really don't need to hear the coaches come out, especially the high profile. Like, I feel for the coaches at the smaller schools in a sense, because they're the ones that, their roster is going to be depleted after a season. But these high profile guys that are making $10 million a year, save your crocodile tears, bro. I just don't care.
I'm sorry I have to say this, but I love the internet from the standpoint with Lane Kiffin. They couldn't help themselves. They said he's leaving LSU to be the new Ayatollah in Iran. They can't help themselves. Okay.
It's a private equity money, bro. It's that Saudi-backed live money.
Can't help himself. Look,
you don't think if they offered him, $100 million to go coach some Saudi college football team?
He's on the jet. Don't worry. And you know what? I think the Gators, and I could be wrong, I think they dodged a bullet. I don't know if I'm sold on John Sumrall just yet. And I know, look, he's doing whatever he can to show everyone in the state of Florida, I have a pulse and I am not the former coach. And he's running. He is a politician right now. He is. But I still need to see him coach a football game before I give him the star of approval.
I kind of said this when the LSU thing was open. I was like, the best coach LSU could have gotten was 80 miles down the road in New Orleans at Tulane and John Sumrall, in my opinion. Like, I like John Sumrall. I think he's going to turn Florida around. I'm not trying to sell Florida fans on the G5 coaches that come in and whatnot, but John Sumrall is completely different than Billy Napier. Completely different. He also doesn't have 400 staffers in the building trying to get things done. Like, what stood out to me about Summerall is, when he was talking about taking the Florida job, and I spoke with a couple people about this, there were two things that stood out he needed first: a special teams coach and a strength and conditioning coach. Like, he's trying to turn Florida around, and I think what he's done, offensive coordinator-wise, staff-wise, bringing in players. Like, I'm not saying they're going to compete for a CFP title this year, but I am saying he can build a foundation and get Florida back to a good spot. So we'll see. But you talked about dodging a bullet. I just don't know if that would have worked out with Lane Kiffin at Florida.
The Gator fans wanted him. They wanted him.
And as they should. Like, that's fine. Like, he was the hot name. Like, he is an offensive genius. I give him that. But all the stuff that comes with it, I don't know if that would have worked out. Steve Spurrier would have been like, bruh, you got to shut down Twitter. Like, stop, dude. Like, your trolling is at a new level. Like, so who knows? I guess we can have that conversation in like 3 years when we look at other teams, because I'm telling you, if like Lane Kiffin goes out and loses 3 games next year and then 3 games in 27, they'll run his ass out of town.
Look, I'm sorry to say this. The state of Louisiana has no money now because they had to give the former coach $50 million. They have to give this guy $100 million. So if you need any money from the state of Louisiana, you're out. There's no money left. It's all football.
You're going to have to go out and plug another oil well in the ground, like to figure out how to pay for the next coach. I mean, I don't live in the state of Louisiana, but thank goodness I'm not having my finances held by that state. So it is what it is.
Hey, look, I think he can be successful at LSU.
Absolutely.
He is an offensive guru. Like, I think he can do it there, but yes. I don't think it would have worked at Florida. I don't.
Man, it's so different. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody at LSU that covers LSU. But man, they have drank the Kool-Aid really quick in Baton Rouge. You kind of saw what he was at Ole Miss, even at other stops. And don't get me wrong, I like Lane. Lane's a good guy, but goofy as hell. And he would be the first one to admit it. But at the same time, I think it's two different jobs, Florida and LSU. And I think he's in the better spot for himself compared to what it could have been like in Gainesville.
The expectations at LSU is to get to the national title game. My expectation for Florida, get to the playoff. That's all you got to do. It's all you have to. That's all you have to do at Florida now. That's expectation.
Here's my thing about Florida. I'm not saying it has to be this year, but by year 2, be in contention for a playoff spot the first week of November. That's how I line these coaches up, and I look at even the Jimbo thing at Texas A&M before he was fired. I said, Jimbo needs to be in contention for the CFP by the first week in November. He wasn't. He was gone. I'm just saying, build yourself up where you're in the top 25, top 30 conversation, and you work your way into it. That's what I think the expectation. Look, always expectations at Florida should be for championships, but you got to rebuild this program right now. And I think that Sumrall can be that guy. And that's why I think by year 2, be in the top 25, you're competitive. The schedule is what it is this year. It's the same darn schedule as last year. You got to go through a gauntlet. But I do think there's the opportunity for Sumrall.
Hey, 3 losses get you into the playoff. Bama's shown it to you. You can do it.
That's where we're at right now. And if we expand, which we are going to expand the playoffs further, you might be a play-in game away from getting into the playoff. Like there are opportunities now. And I think that, when we look at it in where we're at in college athletics right now too, it's about the money. It's about the finance. It's about, getting the right players out of the portal and spending the right amount of money too. But at the same time, if we're just looking at football, just straight football, being in contention and not having the fans check out midway through October is such a key for me in what we're doing right now in sport.
I just want you to know, from a programming standpoint, once we get to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, I tune out of college football. Once we get to championship Sunday in the NFL, I don't want to see a semifinal. I'm done. You've been going nonstop. Because if you're going to expand it, are we going the same weekend as the Super Bowl? What are we doing?
I think you're just going to have to move up. I think what you'll see is week 0 is going to be like the first weekend, and then maybe the national championship around New Year's Day, something like that. There's ways. It could be like a week later, but there's ways to work around it. I mean, you talk about your NFL. I mean, I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, so I really didn't have a team. Like the Saints were somebody that I followed. Your NFL kind of lost me in that horrendous Super Bowl that I had to watch. And I did like the halftime show, by the way.
I did
for all the people out there. But
are we going? I will go to the Benito Bowl. If you want it, you and me can go. I'm going, buddy.
Dude, Bunny was fun, man. I enjoyed it. Like, sorry for all the other people out there that didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It was an entertainment thing. Like, it is what it is. I mean, I could say the same thing about some of the performers the CFP has, for their pregame or their
I can't name one performer in a college football playoff who's performing. Can't remember one person.
No, and here's the thing, like Benito, like I didn't understand what he was saying at halftime, but I damn sure enjoyed it. Like, it's an entertainment thing. So, like, thank goodness for that, because if not, I'd have clicked the button at halftime and be like, all right, guys, I'm out. Y'all have fun with the NFL. I'm, nothing against it.
You know what I like? I texted you, let's talk college basketball. And now we've gone football, because football is king. So on with this. So, and I know you're busy, so thanks for coming on.
No,
all right. Todd Golden is okay. Here's what's so funny about him. He is a national championship coach, and I still think he's underrated in college basketball. He is destroying fools. Back-to-back 30-plus wins. They won the conference. I think they're going to Nashville, and they're going to win the conference tournament. And I think they're going to be a 1 seed with a chance to go to the Final Four. What's your thoughts?
I don't disagree. Florida turned the corner pretty quick this season. There were parts November, early December, I was like, okay, is this Florida team? They built it up, man. Like they built themselves into a really good basketball team. And I'll be honest with you, I don't care what happens in Nashville. Like they could go win the tournament and be congratulations. That's fine. My biggest thing for Florida and Nashville is don't go get any players hurt. You know what I mean? And I know it's hard to do in basketball, but you know what I mean by that. I think they'll be fine. I think you could put them on the one line. And it's a chance to go back to back. Like they've got themselves something at Florida right now, man. And the way that Golden has been able to put together the roster as well, to me, stands out just about as anything else. Especially with the way the portal is right now. And also the way that he coached, like the last 2 games have been butt whoopings. And I could say that for a couple others this season as well. And I'm like, okay. Like this team is different. So I like what Todd Golden's doing at Florida. I think they got a really good shot of going back to back this year. And at the same time, looking ahead to Nashville, like anything can happen in Nashville. Like, I mean, the Blue Mist can come to town, Kentucky, and somehow make this crazy run, when they look like a team that, and honestly, shouldn't even make the NCAA tournament. Like, it's wild to see things that happen there. That's why I'm excited to go cover it because I don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, yeah, Todd Golden, Florida, man, A-list team right now.
And then you fly to the White House, right? That's the game plan?
I mean, we'll see. They got to send out the invite list first.
Yeah, wait, you went to the White House. What was the event you covered there?
The Florida Gators. The Florida Gators celebration.
Was it I went there as a kid when we were like in 8th grade for a tour.
I didn't get to go to that. I tore my ACL during a tug-of-war contest 3 weeks before the Washington, D.C. trip, and I didn't get to go. So I'd never been to – as crazy as it sounds, I had never been to D.C. before until last year when I went to cover the Florida Gators celebration. So I enjoyed it.
Was there a moment there where you're like, yeah, I'm at the White House. This is happening.
The cool part about it is that it rained so bad they had to move it from the South Lawn to inside the White House. So I got to go inside the White House. And I'm like walking around. I'm, God bless him, seeing these weird pictures of Donald Trump on the wall that he had put up himself. And like I'm in the state room and, I'm listening to the Florida Gators fight song and like
I'm laughing because it's so
I'm in real life here. Like this is crazy. Like there's a sniper on my head right now wanting to see who I am. Like and I'm I screwed up and walked in with my backpack just because I'd never been before. It had all my tags for all the games that I'd been to like during the season.
No. Did they rip those off?
I was pissed. They ripped them off. I was like, do you know what you just did? You can keep them. And I was like, that's not the point.
You ripped them off.
Folks, if you don't get that, that means, when we go to different games to cover, they put security tags on our bag. It's kind of like a rite of passage for sports journalists, whatever. It's the small things in life. But yeah, man, it was really neat. We'll see if I go for, this White House panel. It's not like anything else is going on in the country, so I'm sure they can get something done on Friday.
Trey Wallace, Outkick. Thank you so much for your help. Have a great day. All right, buddy.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's so good to join you. I appreciate it. I look forward to joining again as your White House war correspondent. This has always been fun, my brother.